Hey guys, it's been a while and I know it's been a really long time, so I decided to make a video because a lot has changed. And while I'm doing this video, I am gonna go ahead and fold my child's laundry because he's napping, and you know, hashtag mom life. I can't believe I just said that, but oh well. But anyways, as this video is very awkward, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my labor and delivery. I know it might be a little bit scrambled and everything, but as you know, I'm trying to remember the most I can, just because it all happened like very intensely and not quickly, but also something that you don't really think about all the time, you know. You just like, wow, I did it. So Lennon was supposed to arrive December 25th 2016, and he was a past due baby. So I was 41 weeks when he was born. He was born January 1st 2017 at 10:22 in the evening. So there was like a few days, like a week, of us waiting and stuff. So finally, whenever I went to my last appointment at the doctor's, I don't really remember the date. I think it was the 28th. They already went ahead and discussed like the procedure that they were planning to do, like induction and stuff like that, to like induce me, and then if anything didn't work, like natural everything. So with this being said, with the whole situation of Lennon not wanting to get here, we decided to do cervical ripening. And that day, the 28th, that I went into my OB office, Lennon's heart rate was really up and stuff, so they decided to monitor him. And then within that, they scheduled cervical ripening for not the next day, but the day after. So I went in on, I believe, well, it was a total of 3 days after, because the hospital was taking forever just to schedule it. So I went in on the 30th in the morning, 8 in the morning, and I went to my regular hospital, the one that I was gonna give birth, and they stuck a little pill up my vagina. And I know this is really weird and scary, but it's totally normal. What was happening with me, I wasn't dilating. Basically, my body wasn't really ready. Like, Lennon wasn't ready to come out. He was still asleep. So I decided to get some help. Since I wasn't dilating, the cervical ripening helped me kind of start the process, you know. And I was there from 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's when they discharged me. And within that time, I was walking and I started getting like cramps. I started feeling like menstrual cramps, and I was just like, oh well, this actually might not be as bad as I think, you know. But it started getting worse, and it was really painful. My contractions were really intense, and the problem was that I wasn't dilating. So the doctors decided to discharge me, send me home, you know, let me cope with the pain, with the contractions. And they sent me home with a Percocet. So I took a Percocet, and that didn't do anything. We all know us mom's not going to do anything. So that didn't work. And on the way home, we decided to go to Sonic, and I was like dying. And I just like felt really bad because nobody has eaten dinner or anything, and I couldn't even eat the damn Sonic. So I got home around like 6 o'clock, I think, and then I was just like fighting my contractions, you know, coping through them. And with coping with contractions and stuff, you know, I was making noises, you know, like breathing in and out, I even took a hot shower. David helped me in the shower. Like I was miserable. Like it was super intense, and the only thing I could do is wait and wait and wait. And this was New Year's Eve that like I was having contractions, I believe it. Yeah, if that makes sense. It was New Year's Eve. That was already technically in labor, you know, but I just wasn't dilating, so I was still home. And at 2 o'clock in the morning, New Year's Day, 2:30, people were still like shooting off fireworks and stuff. At 2:30 in the morning, I woke up David because like my mom and David were asleep and stuff. I went ahead and told David that I need to go to the hospital, like I can't take it anymore. So we finally got to the hospital. I remember New Year's Eve and New Year's Day in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. It was very like raining and stuff, so it was kind of like super miserable. So we finally got to the hospital, and I had to wait in the hospital doesn't automatically admit you. You have to wait, and then they send you to triage. So an hour passes, you know, of us waiting, and then finally they take me to triage, and they're all asking me all sorts of questions, like how far apart your contractions, and I have no idea, because all I could tell you is that they had to slow down my contractions, because like the baby wasn't coming out, like if that makes sense, like I wasn't dilating, so they had to slow down the contractions. And I honestly, like at that time, like I wish I had somebody that was counting my contractions and like physically there for me and like mentally there for me, but like honestly I don't even know how I did it. Long story short, they finally like hooked me up and everything like that, and I wanted to do no pain medication or anything like that, but I just couldn't handle it anymore, because from like basically 8 o'clock in the morning I was already having contractions whenever they put the cervical ripening pill. So from 8 o'clock in the morning to like basically 3-4 in the morning, I was having such intense contractions. Like I don't even know how I did it. I just don't even know. But finally we changed our minds from no pain medication, and I got an epidural, and then the first epidural did not work, and then the second epidural did work, and after that it was just like I got to relax, you know. It was so painful, you know, getting an epidural while you're having contractions, but after that it's not painful, because you can't really feel anything. So from the waist down you do not feel anything, and the only thing is I think it was like the medication that they gave me, or like it was epidural, that I started shivering, like to the point that like my teeth were like hitting each other, like, you know what I mean, like I was shivering. So that's the only downside about it, and then like the recovery. But I waited and waited, and like around 7 o'clock at night they broke my water, and then I think I was like 7 centimeters dilated. I think 7 or 8 centimeters dilated around that time, and that's when they decided to break my water. So after they broke my water, I still waited and stuff, and at 10 o'clock they checked if I was dilated again, and I was 10 centimeters dilated. And then they got a random doctor, which I wish it was like my regular OB doctor, a random doctor to deliver Lennon. And the doctor was super nice and stuff. It was a woman and everything, but it's just, it was like a random person, and it happened also quickly. I had to push 5 or 6 times I believe, and he came out, and I held him, and it was very intense. I started crying because I finally got to like meet my true love, if that makes sense. But afterwards They cleaned them up. I did not want them to use soap, and they looked at me like I was psycho, but I didn't, like, honestly, the Vernex is good for the baby. Moving forward, like I was saying, I didn't want Lennon to have any sort of like soap, so just like rinse him, which is fine, you know. He still had a little bit of Vernex, but you know, that was my decision, and you could have your own decision. And then also they weighed him, and he weighed 9.6 pounds, so I had a pretty big baby. And also I do want to clarify, it's not because like, oh, like I ate super unhealthy. In fact, I actually ate super healthy during my pregnancy, and all pregnancies are super different. So I just had a big baby because like, I think it's the supplements I did take. I took a lot of omegas, I drank a lot of kombucha, and I was eating fairly good, like for the most part, you know. I still had like my Slurpee, and because, you know, and my Rice Krispie, because that's what I craved. So I also craved a lot of like pickled things, but it's fine. But I had a good balance going on. It's not like I was like obese or anything like that. And that's like a super high myth, that if you eat unhealthy, your baby's gonna come out fat. So yes, I had a pretty big baby. Lennon was healthier than ever. The only thing is, when I was in labor, I did get a fever, and so did he. So they decided to run antibiotics through us, and that's why he stayed at NICU for a little bit, so he could run antibiotics and they could check him out. So everything was fine. He passed all the tests and stuff, and during in the hospital, it's all like a big blur, because like, you don't sleep, and you're just like in trance, and then you're just like so in love with your baby, and you don't know what to do. It doesn't seem real. It's like you're in a dream. So we were in the hospital. We stayed there 2 nights, and finally they discharged us. And during the discharge process and stuff like that, it was kind of confusing, because they make you fill out so many things, especially for you know, you to request a birth certificate, and then also you have to watch like this video. But this was my hospital. But after that discharge process and stuff, we got home, and getting home was like really intense. Like, that's when reality hit me. But then I'll make a whole nother video about postpartum. But that is my labor and delivery story. I did tear. I did have a new mommy tear. It was a 2nd degree tear, and they did put stitches, and it hurt. Like, the recovery process just hurt. But I will talk about that in my postpartum video. If you guys are interested, comment down below your labor and delivery story. I really want to know, because when I was pregnant, I was like so unaware of a lot of things. Like, I thought I was ready, and I totally wasn't ready. So if I could help any of you guys with, you know, like pregnancy, and like, you know, like the whole labor and delivery, just feel free to ask, because if I could help, you know, I wish somebody was helping me when I was like pregnant and in labor and stuff. So yeah, just comment down below. I hope you guys like this video. I know I'm like everywhere, but I have to talk gently because Lennon is napping, and it's been a hectic day. Okay, well, it was nice telling you guys my story. You know, like I said, comment down below, and until next time, go ahead and like and subscribe.